My wife and I had the chance to come out to the Agricultural Media Summit out here in Albuquerque, and it's our first time to come to Albuquerque, and there's certainly some beautiful scenery around. We got to hear from Captain Peter Shin, who was one of the speakers at the event, about his work and how they're working to develop agriculture in Afghanistan. Some really neat projects going there. We also got to hear from Bob Stallman and some other folks from the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. And Kristen, my wife, got to participate in that panel as well. And along with that, we got to meet with some other movers and shakers in the industry. So hopefully we can come back to Ohio and better serve all the farmers here in the state and communicate the message of Ohio agriculture. When you're in the heart of New Mexico in Albuquerque, of course, one of the great things is the great southwestern food. And we've had a number of culinary highlights on the trip. We went to a place called High Noon that was fantastic. We've been to a couple other small diners that are great, but certainly one of the highlights is the Church Street Cafe. The building is over 300 years old, and they had fantastic food. We had some chili rellenos, I think is how you say that, which were fantastic, and I had a spicy pork dish. But we're in Old Town Albuquerque here, and it's been great food. It's got a little spice to it and a little kick, but it also is really fills you up. They have homemade salsa here, homemade chips, and the food was just fantastic. So we've had a great time enjoying some great southwestern fare here in Albuquerque. The desert out around Albuquerque gets about 8 inches of rain a year, and most of it's in July and August. And so that's this time of year right now, and the locals are actually complaining about the humidity here. It's about 30% humidity, and they can't hardly stand it. But it's a walk in the park compared to a day at the Ohio State Fair when temperatures were hitting 95 with closer to 80 or 90% humidity. But as you can see, it's very hot and dry here in the desert, and that doesn't leave a lot of moisture for agriculture. In fact, in the city of Albuquerque, they are providing incentives for homeowners to not plant grass and grow other kinds of crops because of the water use. As you can see, there's some barren landscape around me, and it's not a lot of moisture here. But here's some interesting agricultural facts. There is agriculture in New Mexico. It's got some desert, but it also has some spruce and fir forests and alpine meadows. Some soils in the state are good for pastures and hay grazing if they can get enough water, maybe in some of the areas where they get closer to 10 inches of rain. The chili pepper, of course, is a big crop here, but they also have a pretty sizable beef and dairy industry with about 1.5 million head of cattle. They also grow corn, wheat, onions, pecans, pistachios, and cotton. Milk is a top commodity in New Mexico at $1.36 billion a year. And the average farm size in the state, because land is so available, is just over 2,000 acres. So that's a little overview of this hot and dry state, but still is some interesting agriculture going on.